Explain to us what the Department of Justice has to prove here if it wants to win this case.
The Justice Department needs to show that Apple entered into agreements with each of the publishers that effectively created a cartel among them to disadvantage other internet retailers and raise the price of e-books.
And how will this all play out in court? For example, a lot of people have been talking about the different testimony. We're going to be hearing from one well-known Apple executive, Eddie Q. How important could that testimony be in this case?
I think all of the testimony of the Apple executives is going to be very important. Remember back the Microsoft case the Justice Department brought 15 years ago. It was Bill Gates' own words that really solidified the Justice Department's case and made that a successful prosecution. I think they're going to have the same kind of evidence, even stronger evidence in this case.
And one of the quotes from Steve Jobs that is expected to be highlighted by the Department of Justice comes from the book about him when he was speaking to the author, Walter Isaacson, in which he said, "We told the publishers, we'll go to the agency model where you set the price and we get our 30%. And yes, the customer pays a little more, but that's what you want anyway." What are your thoughts, knowing that the Department of Justice has zeroed in on this kind of comment?
Well, it harkens back to the type of conduct John D. Rockefeller engaged in to create the first oil trust. I think it's the kind of conduct that, and statements that the court's going to see clearly demonstrate that Apple had an anti-competitive purpose here and that consumers have suffered. This is a bedrock antitrust case in which the Department of Justice has a very strong hand.
So, I mean, on that subject of being a ringmaster, that's what you're getting at? You see Steve Jobs as a John D. Rockefeller type ringmaster?
Yeah, this is the kind of scheme John D. Rockefeller would have been proud of. But unfortunately for Apple, it violates the antitrust laws. And Apple's statement saying that this case seems bizarre to them is not going to help them. It's going to even strengthen the court's perspective of the need for a strong order to rein Apple in the future, to make sure it doesn't engage in anti-competitive conduct, to make sure it knows right from wrong going forward.
So, is that ultimately what this means for Apple if the Department of Justice walks away from this victorious?
I think, first of all, it would be a tremendous victory for consumers because we can't allow a firm with Apple's power to arrange cartels to raise the price of goods we buy on the Internet. But second, I think this case will set the rules of the road for Internet commerce. It's going to say that this type of collusion is simply not permissible.
Well, expand on that. What do you mean? How does it affect Internet commerce?
Well, in the future, if we have various product providers, this case sends a strong message that you'll face a stiff penalty if those product providers try to collude, even if they're doing it through a powerful intermediary such as Apple. But
if that's the case, and given all the evidence that you said is in front of everyone here, why would Apple take the position it has? Why would Tim Cook make the kinds of comments he's made about not really understanding what they're going after here?
Well, maybe Apple has an argument that might be appealing in some upper-level antitrust class. But before a federal court judge who can clearly see the anti-competitive effect of these arrangements, that argument isn't going to last very long.